Welcome to the Squeaky Wheel Farm. Hi, I'm Christine, and I'm sitting on the Bobcat that we were able to buy used this last summer. It was something we desperately needed, and I wish we could have bought one years ago, but it did deplete our farm account though, so I wanted to find a way to replenish our account. Today I want to share with you how we were able to make some quick cash with very little effort, just by selling some of the unused stuff from around the farm, and it was so easy with very little time or effort involved. In this video, I'll walk you through what we sold and how much we made from each item. It may give you some ideas on how you can make some extra cash. Now, my husband Paul loves to go to auctions, and he noticed that there was a consignment auction coming up that wasn't too far away. I had been on him about cleaning up the yard and getting rid of some of the junk and stuff and unused equipment, stuff we weren't using anymore. This was the perfect opportunity to clean up, and it was all just clutter. It made our place look sloppy. So let's get down to how much we made and what he sold. The first thing on the list was a New Holland Model 67 baler. It was old and slow, and it missed tying every few bales. We had tried to fix it, but the knotters were completely worn out, and it would have cost more to fix than it was worth. It sold for $160, which in my view was way more than it was worth. It was just junk to us. The next thing he sold was an International Harvester 990 mower conditioner. The gear broke in the gearbox, so it was also just junk. It sold for $450, and that was a win. The third thing he sold was also an International Harvester 990 mower conditioner, and that was his parts machine for the other one. It had a major crack in the metal that made it unsafe to use, and it had also been scavenged for parts already, so it was probably just scrap, and it sold for $130. I should mention that my husband Paul upgraded a few summers ago to a New Holland disc mower 236. That's so much faster, and it's easier to maintain and easier to repair. The parts are also easier to get. So the old IH mower conditioners have been sitting around for a couple of years doing nothing, and they needed to go. We also had an old 1989 Ford Ranger that was running, but it wasn't being used. I paid $500 for it several years ago. Now, we did put tires on it right after we bought it, so they were a few years old, but it was ugly, and with it just sitting around, the mice were getting into it, and it needed to go. We got $1,000 for that. The last thing he sold was a New Holland 65 or 66 small square baler, and it still worked, but you had to bale very slowly. The uptake for the rows was only like 4 or 5 feet wide. Now, it had been gone through by the previous owner when we bought it 8 to 10 years ago. So it was still in good working order, and we had the manual for it. Realistically, though, it belonged in a museum. It was that old, and we got $1,500 for that. So the total earned was $3,240. Now, after the sales commission of $435, we still made $2,805, which was good money considering that all the stuff that we sold at auction was just sitting around here, and he didn't have to do anything but go to the mailbox to get the check. So we were able to make some free money, and I'll call it free money because it was stuff that we were no longer using, and some of it was just junk, and it was already fully depreciated. And now he has some cash that he can use to buy something we need on the farm. It'll go back into the farm account so that we can save up for the next big item. Could he have made more money cleaning the stuff up, fixing it, the stuff that didn't work, and selling it himself on Marketplace or Craigslist? Maybe. Some of the stuff was difficult to find parts for because it was so old, and some of it would only sell at the right time of year. Try selling a baler in the middle of winter. It just won't happen, and it never would have gotten done. That's because there's always work to be done on our farm, so we don't have the luxury of fixing up stuff for other people. Our own stuff needs attention. It can be hard to make money on a small farm, so the tendency to hold on to old stuff is understandable. But we were so happy to let that old stuff go so we could make room for the new stuff that we do need and use on the farm. Take it from me. You may be able to make some money from selling your old farm junk, or maybe a neighbor would like to have some stuff hauled away. I was so happy to see that stuff go. Now my husband was happy to get the check. So you see on the surface an old rusty truck, broken machinery, and old equipment It seems worthless to you, but to a trained eye, you can turn that seemingly worthless junk into some extra cash. You could be sitting on a fortune and not know it. I hope this gives you some ideas on how you can raise some quick money for your farm. Thanks for watching. Oh, and one more thing. I hope to see you again soon.